Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church, where we're in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. There's an old joke about the couple who were celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. Their children and grandchildren had gathered for the important day, and the couple was honored with a party. However, over the years, the wife had grown somewhat hard of hearing. At the party, they asked the husband to offer a tribute to his bride, and he stood, raised a glass, and said, "My dear wife, through all these years, I've found you tried and true." The wife looked back and said, "Well, let me tell you something. After all these years, I'm tired of you too." There may be a lot of truth in her statement. Marriages are hard work. There's also truth in the statement that a wedding is an event, but a marriage is an achievement. This week I plan to consider 5 marriages in the Bible and to explore what made them work and the place of God in the midst of them. Now, there are a lot of marriages in the Bible, but the 5 we will study this week are paradigms of companionship and partnership, devotion and dedication, faithfulness and faith. We begin today with Abraham and Sarah. Actually, Abraham and Sarah are involved with one of my favorite verses in the Bible, although it doesn't seem like much at first. When we first encounter them, they show up at the very end of a list of generations descended from Noah. The list goes on until finally it comes to Abraham and his wife Sarah. Then it says, "Now Sarah was barren. She had no child." It's an important point. All those human efforts from Noah on down, like all our human efforts, had come to nothing. There was no future. The line had come to an end. Period. However, such endings are the opportunity for God to act. And God does, promising Abraham and Sarah that they would be the progenitors of a multitude, promising them that God would be their God and they would be God's people. God not only gave them hope for the future, but also gave them a covenant. God committed God's self to them, and they to God. No wonder we often call it the covenant of marriage. A covenant between two people is just what it is. I don't think we can overstate how radical and unheard of this was in that day. In that day they worshipped stone idols, but Abraham and Sarah dared to believe in an unseen God who promised them an unlikely child in their old age and land somewhere for them to flourish. Let's not overlook the fact that Abraham was 75 years old when all this happened, and Sarah was a spry young thing of 65. I can tell you that I don't want to be doing diapers at 65. But even that wasn't enough for God. Just to be sure that everyone knew the child was from God, God waited until Abraham was 100 and Sarah was 90. Still, their marriage had ups and downs like most marriages. At one point, Abraham says Sarah is his sister to avoid getting killed, and she is almost taken by a rival. At another, Sarah even gave her slave girl to Abraham, thinking that that's what God meant to happen for them to have a child. One also has to wonder about the discussions in the tent between them when Abraham and Isaac got back and Isaac told his mother how Abraham had tried to sacrifice him on the mountain. Still, they believed in God. They believed the promise, and they persevered. I am struck by the scene where God tells Abraham that he will have a child, and Sarah in the tent overhears and laughs. Her laughter may have been some disbelief at the ludicrousness of it, But I wonder, too, if there wasn't a bit of laughter brought on by the joy of the possibility that God just might be able to pull this thing off. You see, the thing is, through all their ups and downs, Abraham and Sarah believed. They dared to believe the covenant God had made with them. They gave themselves fully to the promise, and God gave God's self to them. Isn't that what a marriage is? Marriage is two people committing to each other, to stand together through good and bad, to face life together, sharing both sorrows and joys. Abraham and Sarah had a marriage that was marked by faithfulness and patience. They trusted God and they had a shared vision, united in purpose and in pursuit of God's promise. God was part of their marriage, and they trusted God's purpose and timing together. After all those years, I'm sure they found each other tried and true. That's what they found in God, too. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.